All right, guys. So real quick, I wanted to go through kind of this whiteboard layout here. Hopefully, you can see that okay. So this is just starting out, kind of our general formation. Um, you know, with this is kind of how we would line up at a face-off, right? So we got midi here taking the face-off, midi out on each wing. This might be, maybe it's an LSM. He slides down a little bit further to the defensive side. We got our offensive midi up this way. Defensive guys, clustered in close to the goal. They're each kind of in between their man and the goal. So let's just say um, the other team's attack is lined up something like this. So again, three rules of defense. Number one, always stay between your man and the goal. That's what these guys are doing here. That's what they'll do really regardless of where their man is and where the ball is. Number two is play with your feet, right? So we're going to work on that a lot in practice. Don't overextend. Don't, swing the stick too much or, overcommit on the body. Really just play with your feet, play with good positioning. And then number three rule of defense is really to protect the heart of the defense, which obviously is kind of right in here, right in front of the goal, about, 5 to 8 yards out, really about to where this attackman is, kind of in a little arch. That's really where the heart of the defense is. That's where we want to make sure we are not giving up good looks from that area. If we're going to give out a look, give it away from out here, or maybe like a low angle shot from down here, but don't give away the easy goals out in the middle, right? So that's just three rules of defense. So guys, back to kind of the face-off here. We're going to go with, let's just say we'll talk about defense first since we're already kind of talking about it. So let's just say we lose the face-off. So what do? Right? First thing, our defensive midi, whether it's a long pull or a short pull, doesn't really matter. He's going to be slid down the wing. That's so that he can help cut off the fast break, right? So the other team has got their middies here. They are going to be, let's just say this guy wins the face-off, so he's coming down this way. So this midi, his first job is to drop back in to the middle of the defense, right? So at this point, with middies, ultimately we want to play man-to-man defense, but when we're coming back in transition, the number one rule for a midi is to get to the heart of the defense and then turn around and figure out who you're covering, right? So if this guy has the best chance to get back first, he's going to run right to the heart, try and cut off this midi, and stop the ball, right? Attack, these guys are going to be moving around, spreading out a little bit. So really, defense just wants to make sure you go with them. Staying between your man and the goal, right? Then face-off midi, if you lose, your first job is, you're not going to be chasing the ball out on this side of the field, right? If this midi scoops the ball backwards and is scooping up a ground ball, you're not going to run around him. You're just going to lose steps that way. So the first thing I want to see you do is drop step, right? Drop step and run back with him, right? So you're going to be chasing this guy back to the hole. This guy's running down as well, so this midi is going to come back and try and get in the heart of the defense, right? So that's really where we're going to be positioned midi-wise, right? So let's just say they set up their offense. They send an attackman back to X. They've got an attackman on each wing. They've got, let's just say, two middies up top, and let's say this midi goes to the crease, right? So, okay. They're going to run a 2-3-1 offense, which coincidentally is the same offense that we run. But let's just say, just for argument's sake, that's the same formation that they're going to run. So their attackman, again, on the wing, this defender is going to go with him. He's matched up man-to-man. He's staying inside of his man, right, between the man and the goal, right? And he's going to actually stay, pretty much squared up to him here because he doesn't want to give away the underneath, but he also doesn't want to let this attackman get topside and be able to shoot from there. Same thing on this wing, right? Same exact positioning, just mirror this defender, slunk in a little bit. Both of these defenders want to be right here so that they can help out the heart of the defense, right? And guys, real quick determination of, what kind of defense are we playing? We are going to play a man-to-man. I know we talked, the last couple games, last couple practices about who's the crease guy. We're not going to have a full-time crease guy, right? So basically, the guy who's going to be on the crease is the man who's covering the man on the crease or the man who's covering the guy at X. So, right? So this defender who's covering this guy back at X, you're really going to sit right here on the crease, right? So it does us no good to actually send a defender back to X until they get the ball back there, right? So let's just say this is the ball. Nope, that's a player. Let's just say this is the ball right here. So the ball's still up top with the midi. So this attackman is never going to hurt us from X. What you got to do is just keep your head on a shoulder or on a swivel. Looking back at your man at X, looking up at the ball, right? Making sure this guy's not, because if he's sneaking around here and you're not going with him, that might be a problem. But if he's just back here at X, you're just going to sit here on the crease and help out, right? If the ball goes back to X, right, say it gets passed around to this attackman and then this attackman, that's when you're going to slide right back and cover him man on man, right? That's the situation where you go back there and give him pressure so that way he can't just make an easy pass inside here, right? All right, let's just reset. So this defender on the crease, right, helping out in the middle here. Since this midi is on the crease, our midi is going to slide back, and we're going to actually have a midi crease defender, right? So ideally, if we have a long stick midi, that's going to be the guy to go to the crease. We want the extra long stick there potentially, or maybe not, depending on matchup. So like going back to the last game that we played, we know number 18 was their midi. He was their big shooter. He was one of their outside guys. So in that case, we would actually have LSM out here, right, on that guy. So that way he can't, it's a little bit harsher, a little bit more defense to deal with before he can take that hard shot. But let's just say this is a short stick midi in here. Let's just say everyone is a short stick midi right now. So let's say, 2 midis up top. Again, these midis, same rules of defense apply for the midis. I would say even more so. Stay between your man and the goal. You don't have the long stick to help you recover as much, so you've really got to play with your feet. So you've got to play with good positioning. Let's just say this guy's on ball. Notice how all the midis are shaded slightly to the inside of their man. That's, again, to help protect this heart of the defense and also make it harder to cut down the angle, right? So this guy would have to really run through this midi if he wants to get a good angle shot here. Otherwise, he's going to have to run down this wing where the midi can run with him, and he runs right into this defender, right? So that's why we position ourselves like that. So really, no matter where the ball is, if they move it around here, this defender is going to go out, put a little bit of pressure on him, but don't overextend. Again, we're going to talk about how much pressure, how close should you be, but what you don't want to do is, go slide out to him. This guy puts a little move on you, and then he's past you with the ball and on the crease, right? So we do not want that to happen. So again, slide out to him, let him know you're there. If the ball goes back here. This defender is going to slide back. If the guy runs, carries the ball around, you're going to run with him. Let's just say he makes the pass up to this guy. Again, you'll slide back in. If this guy then tries to make a pass into the interior, what's going to happen? Really, we've got our crease midi here, but we've also got this defender here and this defender who's going to slide back in to help, right? So all of these things are helpful. So this guy can crash in, this guy can crash up, right? So really, in theory, this guy should never have more than like a second to get away a shot because he's going to have 3 defenders in his face. So that's really for defense. Let me now move on. And guys, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about, what happens when the offense starts setting in motion, right? But really, this guy, let's just say he cuts through, send the midi with him. This attackman pops up top. We're going to send the defender with him. We're playing a man-on-man. So in certain situations, we'll call out a switch, right? So let's just say this attackman keeps rotating around and this midi goes, instead of, this defender following all the way over there, he'll say switch with this midi. This midi will say match up on this attackman. This defender will match up on midi. And let's just say the same thing happens here. This midi goes back to X, and this attackman comes to the crease. These guys will switch, right? So the midi still stays on the crease. Defender still stays playing at X. So guys, we'll talk about switches. We'll talk about communication. But really, we're playing a solid man-to-man defense. Switch, communicate with your teammates. But that's about it. We'll keep it nice and simple. We'll work on it during practice. So now we'll talk about our offense, right? And transition games specifically. So I mentioned this team that we're playing this weekend really does a hard ride. So we want to make sure that we are breaking out on our clears really, really quickly. So first of all, what's wrong with this picture, right? So what I'd gone over last weekend was these attackmen, whenever we have the ball down on our defensive side, whenever the other team has the ball, where should these attackmen be? They should be right up here at the line, right? So we want to do that for a couple of reasons, okay? One thing, obviously, it'll make a nice, easy clear. We could just throw the ball over. Potentially, if the defenders still stay back here, we could just throw the ball to an attackman and let them run with it. Even if the defenders are up here, we'll just whip it up the field, let the attackman fight for a ground ball. We're going to do a lot of that this week in practice, making these attackmen work for that ground ball and really win possession. The other thing that happens is, if a midi or attackman, breaks out, we get the ball up here, to this midi, midi's running with it, and then the attackmen start going. If the defense are all up in this zone, we can get a nice, easy, fast break, get behind the defense, right? Get one of our attackmen or midis behind the defense. So this guy, is streaking down the field, make a nice pass to him. The defense is all still up here, and then he gets a one-on-one with the goalie, right? So we could get a couple of nice looks from that. The other thing, on a clear, again, where should the middies really are the biggest thing. So middies, you guys do a lot of running up and down the field, but the most important running that you will do is on a clear, right? So sometimes I see you guys kind of standing around, not really 100% sure what to do once we, our defense wins the ball back, we win a ground ball, or, Sam makes a save, or ball goes out of bounds back here, we get the ball back, whatever it is. Basically we want to work with the ball up the field and get the middies up the field, right? So this midi is going to break up the sideline, really, go 3 across, right? So basically middle of the field and then sidelines. Defense, we're going to send one out to the wing, and then this guy really is going to kind of hang out here in the middle. He's not going to be a person to pass to, okay? So don't even think about it. I don't want to see the goalie make this pass. I don't want to see the defenders from the wing make the pass. But this guy is going to hang out here just in case we turn the ball over to prevent, he's going to be there to kind of protect the heart of the defense again, right? So Sam's first looks are going to be up to these middies, right? So assuming one of these middies is able to get open pretty quickly, Sam's going to make a nice pass, over the top, and they'll be off to the races. Otherwise, Sam will look out to the defenders on the flanks and let those guys, make a nice pass up or run with it. I know, a lot of you guys can handle the ball as well, so feel free to run with it. That's totally fine, unless you're getting, double teamed or getting a ton of pressure, which, you probably will this weekend. And, if everyone is covered up, Sam, just whip it down to these attackmen, right? Let them fight for it. Just get the ball as far as you can. If it goes past the attackmen, they can run and pick up a ground ball. That's totally fine. What we want to avoid is just turning the ball over here, right in the heart of the defense, and giving up a lot of easy looks to the other team. So let's just get the ball up to our offense, and then we'll go from there.